Tonight, inflation soars to new heights nationwide, and it's costing struggling Georgians food, rent, and gasoline prices, all continuing to climb. In fact, the price at the pump up 12 cents from just yesterday. According to AAA, $4.29 per gallon for regular gasoline. CBS 46's Adam Murphy live at a Shell gas station on Howell Mill Road in Atlanta. Adam, this is impacting families big time.
It certainly is, Sean. Good evening to you. I'll tell you, I spoke with one family today who said they just can't afford gas prices, and they found other ways to get around, and you can see why. Look at this Shell station on Howell Mill Road here in Atlanta, $4.69 a gallon for regular unleaded. As the price at the pump goes up, there's no doubt consumer confidence goes down. Most in the metro now paying anywhere from $4.19 to $4.69 a gallon.
It's rough. It's rough. I'm fortunate, but I can't imagine what it's like for people who are a little bit pinched right now.
Inflating gas prices are costing most families
a stressful task at the best of times. But for Taylor Dipple, today is particularly hard.
The kids have realised that something's happening and something's off. Bub's been very clingy.
6 months ago, the 25-year-old and her partner Daniel were told their Bundaberg rental was being sold and they'd need to find a new home for their family of 5.
So we sort of thought, oh yeah, my partner's making good money at work. We can sort of afford a nice 4-bedroom home. Every single rental that is in our price range we've been going for. And unfortunately, there is literally just hundreds of applications for every single rental.
In the end, there was only one option.
We have to move into a tent because there's no rentals. Last few days, it's really been finalising the packing, very emotional, going through all the kids' toys and trying to find ones that they were attached to that we knew we couldn't let go. And then finding the ones that they hadn't played with in a while. And yeah, putting them aside to sell or to, I actually donated them to a lady.
On moving day, as the storm clouds roll in, the family decides to try the caravan parks one more time, rather than camping by the river, which is prone to flooding.
Hello. Hi, I was just wondering if you had any camping spots available at all.
No, we don't. Sorry.
Hi, I was just wondering if you had any camping spots available at all.
What have you on?
For as long as you offer, for 2 adults.
Ella come out and have a talk with adults,
I got hung up on.
Hours later, a small stroke of luck.
No worries.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so cost?
Your lounge rooms tonight, it might be easy to forget the housing crisis in this country. It's not just impacting the young and poor, but older, educated Australians. And their stories are compelling.
You know, it's really hard putting 2 kids to bed in a tent.
It's the middle of the night, and by daybreak, the situation hasn't improved for this young mum.
Day in the life of a homeless family living in Australia during the rental crisis. My kids woke up terribly because they slept terribly in the stormy weather. But enough of that, it was time for breakfast, which consisted of 1 banana. More storm clouds. Rained a lot that day.
Susanna Taylor and her family live in a tent. Unable to get rental accommodation, she TikToks her family's struggles.
And here's Lila just trying to feed me. She's very good.
There's Lila and baby Luna and a cold.
I can tell you this, being sick in its head is not fun.
The 22-year-old Queensland mum looks after her kids while her young husband tries to look for work and somewhere to live around Bundaberg. Public housing just isn't available, but right now there are other pressing issues.
I can't find wipes. It's Labor Day and we need wipes. and I don't know what's open, and I can't really just go driving around because I can't just, waste fuel.
Everything I own is wet. I have black mold growing in my little situation up there. Nothing will dry.
Just down the road from Susanna, in Burham Heads near Hervey Bay, Ian Heron has also been forced to live a life in a tent, unable to get rental accommodation.
I'd settle for a roof over my head, somewhere warm and dry, for me and my little dog. That's all. There are no rentals available, not for low-income people like myself.
Partially blind, the 60-year-old found himself homeless when his rent skyrocketed and his disability pension just wasn't enough to afford anything.
I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what to do. In the last 10 weeks, I've moved 11 times.
Halfway across the country,
I'd never believed this would happen in Australia, that you can't find a house to rent.
Followed suit, posting a 20.7% increase compared to last year.
Highest prices we've seen since probably for the last 10 years. Stock levels, lowest levels since, in some cases, 2007-8.
It's particularly severe because we are just coming out of a recovery from a 2.5 year pandemic that had severe implications on the price of goods and services as well as the price of commodities.
Coming right out of that kind of historic disturbance of the world boom, we're hit with a really huge geopolitical event.
The war in Ukraine is putting a massive strain on the global food supply. The chief of UN World Food Program warned that a potential global food crisis might be on the horizon on a scale not seen since World War II.
Some estimates place the total caloric value of the food exports from the Ukraine and Russia around 12% of the globe's total calories.
If the Ukrainians can't plant right now and can't get their wheat in the ground, it does mean that the 2022 planting season will not yield much if they get some in, or the size harvest that the world is anticipating.
This is going to be another major test to the food supply system. And we will have to watch very carefully what's happening in other parts of the world and consider ways to reduce risks of food shortages and conflict. This is going to be very challenging.
So how exactly does the conflict in Ukraine pose a threat to the global food supply? And can anything be done to stop it? Russia and Ukraine are agricultural giants that provide a pivotal role in the global food supply. In 2021, Russia exported $37.3 billion worth of agricultural products to the rest of the world.
The doomsday clock. It estimates how close we are to a civilization-ending apocalypse. Right now, it's set at 100 seconds to midnight. That's the closest it's ever been to the witching hour. The bulletin of the atomic scientists say we are at doom's doorstep. To blame, they say, security threats, a lack of climate policies, and an insufficient response to the pandemic rolled into one big mess. Scientists set the clock back in January, before Russia even invaded Ukraine. They say the clock is meant to encourage the world to work together, to ease the threats facing all of us, but some prefer we just get ready in case midnight strikes. Here's CNBC's Rahel Solomon.
Doomsday end of the world preppers. Once synonymous with fringe fanatics, hoarding supplies suddenly look a lot less crazy these days. Jason Charles is a former New York City firefighter and proud prepper.
My definition of a prepper is somebody who prepares for anywhere between small emergencies to large emergencies. This mask is a nuclear, biological, chemical mask.
Jason, who also hosts the Angry Prepper channel on YouTube with 107.
More expensive, and one local farmer says we may soon be facing more serious food shortages. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pat Paris.
And I'm Heidi Laga. 9 on Your Science Brian Brennan looked into the farm industry's rising costs.
There are all sorts of contributing factors that can lead to rising costs for food items, even food shortages. One thing that could cause a major ripple effect, the price of corn.
A farmer in a field may look like a charming scene, but they have to worry about budgets like any other business owner.
This year, I've already exceeded last year's budget for fertilizer.
Farmer and Marana Town Councilman John Pose says his costs have gone up across the board. So even though he is selling wheat, cotton, and corn at higher prices, the budget isn't balancing out like it should.
Well, the fertilizer price just took every hope of a profit out of there and added cost to it.
The rising price of corn will lead to higher prices for the many items made with corn byproducts, but Bose says that's not even the worst part.
It's also animal feed, right? Cows, chicken, pigs, all that kind of stuff. So you're talking about a product that has the supply of, or the lack of, has huge ramifications for, our country.
The war in Ukraine also reportedly added to the strain on the global market for corn and other grains.
So it's kind of economics 101. If the supply tightens, the price goes up.
Arizona Farm Bureau